Hello everyone, good afternoon everyone. So I welcome you all once again to the new episode, the seventh episode of Two Book Dragons. And आज भी हमारे साथ पिछले 6 एपिसोड्स की तरह मौजूद हैं दिव्या आनंदानी, who is an author. कैसा लग रहा है? How are you feeling?
Still euphoric, still can't believe वाले फेज में हूँ अभी तक कि अरे हो गई है पब्लिश. अभी भी कोई करता है कि ओ कांग्रेचुलेशन लाइक अरे हाँ पब्लिश हो गई है. I'm feeling very nice, especially because जो हमने डिस्कशन के लिए डिसाइड किया है और एक हल्का सा तुम्हारी का न्यूज के बाद सैडनेस है कोर्स जो तुम हमारे रीडर्स को पता नहीं कब बताओगे, हमारे व्यूअर्स को पता नहीं कब बताओगे, बट या there's mixed feeling after your yesterday's announcement. But yeah, of course. नहीं मतलब चाहने जैसा नहीं, बट तुमने इंस्टाग्राम पे डाल दिया और फिर आके मुझसे डिस्कस कर रहे हो, इसलिए मैं बोल रही हूँ ऑफ कोर्स कि तुम को तो बताओगे ही.
I'm mute. Oh sorry. मैं बोले जा रहा हूँ and I'm mute basically. I don't know intro आई है कि नहीं आई है. Alright, in case intro आई गई होगी, हाँ. So I was saying that I'm a little impulsive as well और काफी long thought तो था decision by the way. ऐसा नहीं था कि बहुत अचानक से ले लिया था. But then it was like 1 or 2 at night. So पर मैंने वहाँ पे specific mention किया है that the decision of Two Book Dragons will not be taken by me alone. Obviously, I've only taken the decisions alone for the podcast I do by myself or the content that I write. The decision of Two Book Dragons will be taken after discussing with my co-host. क्या यार तुम ऐसे डांटो नहीं यार.
नहीं, रात को मैं बहुत ही इसमें थी, डिस्कस नहीं करने के मूड में थी, इसलिए रात को नहीं डांटा, इसलिए अभी डांट.
Okay, so or should I say that you were waiting for the live to happen and then?
Yes, of course यार.
Okay, कोई बात नहीं चलता है. I'll क्या कहते हैं, worth it. I'll say this is worth it somewhere. Okay.
Welcome you guys to the season finale with Saurabh of Two Bookdragons. अभी सौरभ कंटिन्यू करेगा कि उसकी अनाउंसमेंट क्या है
before that let us tell people about this beautiful thing जो आपकी स्क्रीन पर दिख रही होगी. By the way, I want my cat back, जिसमें आपको बहुत अच्छे से आप पढ़ सकते हैं by Saurabh Sharma and Divya Anandani. So this is the reason how Divya Anandani is now an author from a writer. This is our latest project and this is our latest release. And we are very happy that we are announcing it out on Two Book Dragons itself, and especially on the season finale of Two Book Dragons. So इसका link description में available है. So guys, if you have not read it yet, if you have not shared it yet, then go read it, share it. Book के बारे में थोड़ा सा बताइए दिव्या जी.
So it's a very short story. It's this conversation. It's just one conversation between Ritika and Amber. They are the main characters of our book. And it's very short. It's 20 pages. From the reviews that we've received, it's like everyone loves it because it's super cute, relatable, it's funny in the end, and it is something that gave someone jitters like right from the first case, wala feeling and everything. So if you're in that zone, if you want to just have a very casual kind of a conversation with someone and not make it very serious, this is the book for you. So yes, it's a very cutesy story for about 20 pages and it's available on Amazon Kindle. Okay, one thing that I've been asked is you do not have to own like this Kindle device. You can just download the app in your phone and access the book from there. Just sign up with your Amazon account and we'll sync both the accounts. And yes, you're good to go, but you have to purchase it on the Amazon app and not on the Kindle app. So I got these lots of towels, which I'll even clear on Instagram, but I'm saying it here while I have you guys. So you don't have to have the device, the Kindle device.
Yeah.
can just put in your phone as that. So
And
yes.
in fact, you can read it on your laptop as well. Amazon have their Amazon Kindle की website available है, and you can easily read it on their website as well. It's not a big hassle. It's very easy to go through. ऐप बहुत छोटी सी है, आप उसको ले सकते हो. It syncs automatically by itself. Purchase करो वो ऐप में अपने आप आ जाता है. So it's a very simple process. Go guys, get the app. Free of cost app है. Go get the app and then go read this book and drop down your reviews. So far the reviews have been very beautiful. We will wait for your reviews as well. And yep, now coming across, so this is episode 7, the season finale of Two Book Dragons, season 1, basically season finale of season 1. We'll be very soon back with the season 2 with the new surprises, probably for sure with the new surprises, and for sure with new excitement, new books, new formats, probably क्या क्या आता है क्या क्या नहीं आता है. We'll decide out that. This was a beautiful journey. हमने बहुत शॉर्ट नोटिस पे डिसाइड किया था that we'll do something like this, and we came up with this, and I had no idea that this will go long. 7 episodes technically means that we have done it for around 2 months itself, which is a good way, good going. आप 2 महीने तक consistently कोई चीज कर रहे हो, it's a good way of going, and 7 episodes are good enough episodes to conclude a season. You all know that to come across the whole book, then prepare for the whole book, then putting out the whole reviews of the dissection of the book, not a review but a discussion dissection. It takes a lot out of normal life. बहुत टाइम भी निकालना पड़ता है और बहुत ज़्यादा एफर्ट्स भी निकालने पड़ते हैं, and then we did it for all of you, and the support was really good. I am very, I'm very overwhelmed by all the response that we received, and you guys enjoyed our pair together. That's the reason why we also came up with the book. By the way, I want my cat back to ये सबको ये चीज पसंद आई है तो सबको वो चीज भी पसंद. अगर हम सब साथ होस्ट कर रहे हैं, लोगों को अच्छा लग रहा है तो साथ लिखते हैं, लोगों को वो भी अच्छा लगेगा. And the response was really good. So that was my little experience of this little journey.
Yeah, 7 episodes is like 7 cool marks for me because of the stunt that you pulled last night. So one of the cool will be yours.
Yeah.
I'm bearing that t-shirt as well. I'm a writer. I can see you in my stories. It's a subtle hint for you, but okay.
And plus, do not think that the channel has gone away or the Book Dragons has gone away or me have gone away or Divya have gone away. We all are available here itself. Details are in the description. You guys can reach out to us. You guys can read our books and give us the feedbacks. And plus, so Divya, आप बताइए, will you be back with Two Book Dragons whenever the season 2 comes up?
Yes, it is in the works. We're thinking to not let you guys off it completely. We are planning something around it. It won't be very immediate, so probably not next Sunday or the Sunday after that. But maybe uske baad wala Sunday, we're not quite sure. But there will be details. Watch this space. Watch our Instagram spaces if you want to know more. And there will be a surprise co-host. If I'm saying surprise was to सब ये है, मुझे पता नहीं अभी कौन है, but there will be a surprise co-host. It's still in the works, but it's not something that I'm ready to let go of yet.
Yeah.
And yes, so I'm working around it, and we'll see how that takes. But
बहुत मेहनत से शो
there is
बनाया
something
है,
coming.
बहुत मेहनत से शो बनाया है, बहुत दिल और जान से शो बनाया है, तो इसे इतनी आसानी से तो नहीं जाने देंगे. And the response have been really good. People have enjoyed this new format of discussing books. So we'll not let this go. The Two Book Dragons will be back very shortly. We are preparing on the season 2. The work is in progress. और जैसे जो भी decide होता है, we will inform you guys around it about the whole setup. And yep, then we'll launch the season 2. So it's just a little break that we are taking for a couple of weeks ताकि हम आगे की बुक्स तैयार कर सकें और आगे का प्लान तैयार कर सकें, a better way of presenting तैयार कर सकें. This year has been working so well. हमने सीजन में थोड़ा सा अपग्रेड किया है, अभी थोड़ा ब्रेक लेके नए सीजन में पूरा अच्छे से अपग्रेड करेंगे. So that we will do. So once again, I welcome you all to the episode 7, which is the season finale of season 1 of Two Book Dragons with me, Saurabh Sharma, aka Meet the Wizard, और मेरे साथ है दिव्या आनंदानी. और आज की बुक जो हम डिस्कस करने वाले हैं, that is A Walk to Remember by Nicholas Sparks. So this is the cover, and screen पे अलग cover और तुम्हारे Kindle पे अलग cover. As obvious, the books which are the best sellers उनके multiple covers बन जाते हैं, and There are multiple discussions around it. So yeah, so starting off, let's start with what are your general feelings about discussing this book?
So, my general feeling, I'm very happy you asked me this question. So, I read this book when I was 17. I think this is when you're supposed to be reading this book. So, I read it when I was that age, and so I'm not a love story fan. Like, I can write a good love story, but I would not prefer reading something like that. क्योंकि मुझे eventually at the end of the day बहुत similar लगता है. So, unless it's a different kind of a story that any book has, I prefer reading it. So very I did not pick it up. मतलब मुझे पता था ये love story है, so I did not pick it up with I'm so excited to read it. But it was one of the few stories. There are only 3 love stories that have actually what do you say, made me, very emotional, and this is one of them. So of course discussion में पता चलेगा why was it emotional for me as a 17-year-old. Of course when I reread it for this discussion, I was not as emotional, but वही था कि I knew what was coming, so probably then I was not as emotional. But back then I had this like I was like ये must read है, हर 17-18 साल के बच्चों को नहीं ये चीज पढ़नी चाहिए. It's a very sweet story, it's a very pretty story, and yes, that is my general feeling when I read this book when I was 17. Yesterday it was more of a nostalgia reading, कि अरे मैं 17 साल की थी तब मैं ये किताब पढ़ती थी and everything, and I was reading it yesterday. So yeah, that was my feelings when I was rereading it. What about you? Alright, about the author. Mhm. Definitely. Yeah. About the Okay. Nicholas Sparks, I think, writes love stories itself. He has been, and he experiments with love stories. Like I won't take the name, but there are other authors as well who just experiment with love stories. But honestly speaking, मुझे उनकी conceptual मतलब अगर मैंने एक पढ़ी तो मुझे after some days or months I will not be able to differentiate कि उनकी ये story में ये story line थी और वो story में वो story line थी. So what I like about Nicholas Sparks as an author is that if you read the last song, it's a different story. If you read A Walk to Remember, it's a different story. If you read The Notebook, it's a definitely different story. So हर एक को ना उन्होंने characterize किया है. It's not the same. You cannot like just say कि अगर तुम्हें नोटबुक पसंद है तो तुम्हें A Walk to Remember भी पसंद आएगी ही, because nothing in it is the same. So I like that about Nicholas Sparks, and of course we know कि सारी almost love stories have become movies and everything. So that in itself speaks a lot about the kind of things that this author has done. So that's my opinion about Nicholas Sparks. If you're जैसे movies में तुम्हारा एक set होता है कि if you want to watch a chick flick, and you're in that kind of a mood. So if you're ever in that mood for reading, I think you can pick up Nicholas Sparks and you can just get lost in the world of romance.
Nicholas Sparks, I guess, have explored every sort of a crazy romance that can exist with वेरी वेरिएंट सॉर्ट ऑफ ट्रबल्स, मतलब ऐसे ट्रबल्स जो आप बहुत जनरल समझोगे, लाइक एन इलनेस और रिच फैमिली, पुअर फैमिली, सो इन चीज़ों को आप बहुत जनरल समझते हो, बट ही इज गिवन अ डिफरेंट एंगल टुवर्ड्स इट कहीं ना कहीं. सो दैट्स व्हाट आई लाइक. एक अच्छा ऑथर ना वो होता है जो बहुत डिफरेंट चीज लिख ले, और एक अच्छा ऑथर वो होता है जो बहुत ही कॉमन चीज को डिफरेंटली लिख ले. So that's what Nicholas Spark is good about, that you know that these things have been written and shot and talked about 1,000 times, but yet when he does it, it just gives a little different feel towards it, and that's the reason why readers also pick it up a lot of times.
Definitely, definitely. So yeah. So walking into the cover picture. अब तुमने कौन सा cover picture देखा है?
जो स्क्रीन पे दिख रहा है. Which more or less just have a text in it, and I guess it's just that this cover shows a little disruption around it, और brownish color जो है वो हल्की सी sadness हमेशा depict करता ही करता है. So that's the feel that I got, well, the first feel that I got from the book is that it has that pint of sadness throughout the story, with a quite of disruption around it, cutie around it, like a flower or something. So वो चीज.
Okay. So I have this cover, which is basically a movie, sort of a movie cover.
Yeah.
And the book that I previously owned when I was reading when I was 17 was this woman. She's lying in a field of grass and she's reading. And she just had a book on her chest. She was just lying down. And that is what compelled me to pick up the book, because a lot of people, I don't know whether you've noticed this about covers, but whenever there's a woman on the front cover, on the book cover, it's not what do you say? It's she's not like it's not there to. It's generally there to entice readers to buy it, right? I mean, if you pick up James Hadley Chase, you have these women who are just there to entice readers to pick it up and buy it, and अंदर का जो material content होता है, that has got nothing to do with the cover outside. So this is one of the few covers when I was 17 that I came across. Ki the woman has nothing enticing about it. It's not like, oh no, I want to read. Kuch to hoga, andar kuch action hoga. It was just a very plain, simple woman who was just lying in a field of grass with a book on her chest. That's it. That's the cover. And I think, of course, Nicholas Sparks is established so he can experiment with something, because अगर उसमें Nicholas Sparks है तो वो at that point बिकेगा, अभी भी बिकेगा. So it was not like he was struggling with selling his book. So I think you experiment more with covers like these when you become established. Probably, I'm not sure. It's a discussion for another time. But yeah, it was an interesting cover. I think.
That's interesting. And then walking into the characters, so book के दो lead characters जिनके 90% of the story revolves around are Jamie Sullivan, the female lead, and the Landon Carter, the male lead. And Jamie Sullivan is basically a person जिसे आप बोल सकते हो who's into Bible, who's into God, who's into faith, who's into belief. And the other way, the Landon Carter is a bit of a bad boy. Definitely have a bit of generosity inside him, but is a high school bad boy basically. That's what I mean. All fun, all pranks, all gang mein rehna, and sort of.
So this book is actually like when the narrator is narrating this book. So we later, all I said, Landon is narrating this book. So he's narrating it in the year 1999, but the instance that he's narrating it about is 1958. Yeah. So 43 years have passed since this thing happened to him. This year passed. And he's narrating a story. So you have to remember the premise. It's not a 2000 book. It's 1958. तो वहाँ अगर हम bad boy बोलते हैं तो it's not like वो drug कर रहा था या वो किसी को कुछ harm कर रहा था. It is just basic कि वो घर के बाहर रहता था, कर्फ्यू तोड़ता था.
कर्फ्यू तोड़ता था. Just
peanuts खाता था.
Peanut खाता था. Do up a little prank. Go to cemetery. So these were the short bad boy things that he would be doing.
Yes. So that is Landon Carter. Jamie Sullivan अभी के standards और तभी के standards के हिसाब से भी बहुत what do you say, बहुत आदर्श बच्ची idle kid थी. She would always roam around with the Bible in her hand, and of course we later know why she would do that. But She would dress very casually. She was not into like she didn't make an effort to look pretty. उसके कपड़े बहुत casual होते थे, बहुत simple होते थे. And when Landon is describing Jamie, he calls her plain. He doesn't say that, and that is that he calls her plain when you notice her. Like it's even when you notice her. So otherwise, she's not even a noticeable girl. But something that would annoy Landon a lot. So she was very cheerful all the time. She's very like she was so excited about things in life. Ki even if she was talking to you for the first time, you would feel that oh हमारी पहले बात हो चुकी है. She would make you feel good about yourself. And even though you've not done anything, but the way she would talk to you, like if you even are related to a family who has done something bad, even when she looks at you, you feel guilty as if तुमने वो कुछ किया हो. So she is what others would call she's an ideal girl, she's a salvatory girl. She's this woman who always helps people, whereas Landon was out troubling others. That's it. So, yeah.
So let's walk into the story.
Yes. So Landon सबसे पहले town का description देता है. They stay in a very small town. And what he also explains is that I don't know whether this happens because I'm not stated, so I will ask this to you. But small towns, especially this tinier town, what happens is कि if something happens like कुछ बड़ा हो तो वो सब टाउन वाले उस स्टोरी से रिलेट करते हैं. मतलब किसी एक की स्टोरी उनकी स्टोरी बन जाती है. So Landon says that this is something that is everyone's story, but I was closest to it, right? So I don't know if this really happens, or I don't know whether it was just the way Nicholas Sparks described it, but and I've never stayed in some small town. So I would ask you, Saurabh, ऐसा होता है?
So the thing with small towns is that कि सबको सब पता है. So that's how it works. And the beauty of a small town, I'll tell you this one thing is that बहुत प्यारी insight देता हूँ मैं कि सबसे ज्यादा यूनिटी होने के बावजूद भी सबसे ज्यादा डिसयूनिटी कैसे दिखाई जाती है ना, दैट्स अ स्मॉल टाउन के डोंट. सो सब सबकी चुगली कर रहे हैं और सबको पता है कि सब सबकी चुगली कर रहे हैं और फिर भी सब सबकी चुगली कर रहे हैं, फिर भी सब सबके लिए अवेलेबल है. सो दैट्स हाउ इट वर्क. सो यू डोंट हैव टू गिव एन इन्विटेशन कि आज शादी आप आ जाना. जस्ट हैव टू सेट अप अ टेंट, सब आ जाएंगे ऑटोमेटिकली. I mean, it's not like that you know that person or you don't know that person. So if I know you and you know 10 people, so I'm automatically supposed to know that 10 people because they live my next door and I have to call them. There is no other option. So वहाँ कोई भी function जो है वो 5-10 लोगों का होता ही नहीं है. The family function is of also 100-200 people. क्योंकि आप exclude ही नहीं कर सकते neighbors. There is no way you can exclude neighbors. You can't take a walk alone. You can't go outside and throw a garbage by yourself. You'll encounter 10 people within that doing the same activity. So it's always that group. Small town will always have a group. So that's how small town works. Everybody knows everything going around. So yeah, it's that open.
True. So he describes this particular town, and he says that he's closest to the story. And he's 57 now. Landon is 57 now, and sometimes he wishes he has a time turner to, like remove all that sadness. But he also realizes, like he बहुत casually mentioned है कि he says कि sometimes I wish I could turn time and remove all that sadness, but that would mean the joy would be gone too. So that 1 year which he's talking about has given him a lot of sadness because we know that. But we'll see how has it also given him this joy that he keeps talking about. So the date is 12th April 1999. Landon is 17 years old. And okay, another thing that I liked about Nicholas Sparks is that so this is something that I am trying to do. मुझे places का description लिखना नहीं आता. मुझे नहीं आता कि I just have these very select vocabulary words and I will not be able to like describe places. But Nicholas Sparks does it beautifully. Like there's half a page just the description of the page. जो मैं all these years में skip करती हूँ. But yesterday when I was reading it, I was like नहीं ये पढ़ना चाहिए, काम आएगा future में. So he does it beautifully, and that's when he introduces Herbert. Right, Herbert is Jamie Sullivan's father, the lead character's father. And so like I said, Landon is a bad boy, keeps teasing Hugbird. Hugbird is a minister, so he does these ministerial duties, like the priest and everything. So he does that. He'd written a play. The play was called The Christmas Angel.
Christmas Angel.
Right. So he'd written that play, and the play ka story goes like there's this like it's a story of a man who had lost his life who had lost his wife during childbirth, and so he basically neglects bringing up his own daughter, and one fine day he wants to like give his daughter a Christmas gift, and she wants this musical box. Okay, and he's like searching all around for this musical box, and he meets a woman. This woman is like, I'll help you find a musical box, and she takes him around town. She's like कि इसकी हेल्प कर देते हैं पहले, फिर हम ढूंढेंगे, वो लोग उसकी हेल्प करते हैं, इधर हेल्प करते हैं, उधर हेल्प करते हैं. And then he's like, she asks him, what is that one thing that you really want? So he's like, I just want to see my wife. And she takes him to this pond, and she tells him to see inside the reflection. And the reflection that he sees is of his daughter. And he realized that, okay, his wife might have come back in this, way, and he's been not treating his daughter well. So he realizes that, and when he just looks around, she disappears, the woman disappears, and he goes home, and his daughter's fallen asleep, and kisses her forehead, and next morning he wakes up and he realizes that musical box is under the tree, and the angel on that box is the woman he met yesterday, like the day before. So this is a very emotional play, and just in small town mein hota hai, everyone knows everyone's story. So this was a story that was known to everyone, that this is his own personal story, and that has made everyone a bit more emotional. And they would keep doing these plays, but this time they were going big with it. This time they, and he wanted to involve like school people in this play, not theater groups and everything. So he took this play to the school in order for them to practice and everything. And yes, this is the play. And okay, now some thoda background. So Herbert and Landon Carter's father did not get along very well, even Landon Carter for that matter. Because Herbert knew कि वो बहुत चिढ़ाता था और बहुत मस्ती करता था, and good for nothing kind of a guy and everything. And so Landon's father, like grandfather, had a history. He's a shrewd businessman, and he like kind of उसने लूटा लोगों को in a way, मतलब capitalized on their what do you say, their helplessness basically. Gave interest at very high, gave loans at very high interest rates and all those things. So Herbert would work for Landon's grandfather, but things didn't go well. That's why Herbert left them, and he came to for his ministerial duties and everything. So that is why he did not like this family at all. ना उसको Landon पसंद था, ना उसको उसके family में से कोई पसंद है. Landon, as a family, too, although he like did get along with his mom, he had an estranged father. He thought till he was 5 that this is normal. मतलब हाँ ठीक है, सभी के साथ ऐसा होता है. Then when he was 5 years old, some friend asked him कि who's that man? So Landon is like, he's my father. And he's like, oh, I thought you don't have a father. And that point of time with Landon is like, oh, this is not normal. This is not normal. So that's when he realized, and so he even mentions as to how when you become a rebel, it's more like you mostly attribute it to something that you've been through since childhood, and which is what he did. So when he became a rebel, it was mostly because of the loss of a parent, and he did have an amazing mom, but he's like, she could not play that role of being this father in my life and everything. So yes, he had strained relations with his father, but he was still even if he was a bad boy, he was not like outright rebellious. He would still not disobey his father or something like that. He just agree to his father, not do what his father wants, but on the face he would still pretend that he's a decent enough guy. So that's how the story starts. And yes, okay. So then Hagbard takes this play to the school, where of course this angel is played by Jamie Sullivan. And that year, that fateful year, Landon decided to take up drama. Okay, so it was a choice between drama or chemistry too. And drama he found easy because he's like, अरे पेपर नहीं लिखना है, कुछ theory practical का कुछ नहीं है, खाली drama में participate करना है, and he'll get his marks. So he chooses drama, and he has his teacher and everything. And he, of course, after some point, we see that he is asked to play a particular important role, one of the lead characters' role in this particular drama. So now, before that, Landon gives Jamie's description. Apart from what we've already told you, she also volunteers at the orphanage.
Yeah.
Very often. She like अगर वो किसी एनिमल को इंजर्ड देखेगी तो उसको वेट के पास लेके जाएगी. वो चलते चलते अगर किसी का देखेगी लाइट बल्ब टूट गया है तो खुद ही रिप्लेस कर देंगे without asking. So this is what happens. And so yeah, this is how Landon has seen Jamie all throughout his life. Then one fine day, he's elected in some council and he needs a date for the council. So now the thing is, Landon ne break up kar diya tha third time पहले, so he did not have a date. But what he did was he tried asking of people, friends, ये वो सबके पास date थी. He was flipping through his yearbook and just making random calls to random girls, asking them to be their date. And he just knew one person in this whole school other than him who did not have a date. One day, so then he elected Jamie Sullivan. And he was like, so he skipped, okay? He was like, no, I won't ask her. And he was just searching for some other options. And then he realized that that other person, like, जिसके पास डेट नहीं थी, वो भी यही चीज कर रहा होगा. And what if he asked Jamie first and she says yes to him? So he's like, no, I have to ask. So next morning, he wakes up, goes to school, and he's like waiting for Jamie and everything. But she is not in school. So he waits some more and finally goes to her house. So he reaches her house and he beats that other guy. That other guy is also on the way to her house, but he beats him there. And he knocks on the door and she's surprised, but she's always like happy to see other people. So she's like, I will call you in, but my father's not home, so I'm not supposed to. So we can sit on the porch and talk. And I made lemonade, and do you want it and everything? So finally, after a couple of attempts, he asked her, will you go to the dance with me? And she was like, okay, I would love to, but first I have to ask my father about it and everything. And eventually she agrees. And she tells him, I'll go to the dance with you, but only on one condition. And he's like, what condition?
Don't fall in love with me.
And he just thinks it's a joke. So he's like,
there can be two perceptions around it. So the first perception can be that this can be obviously a joke. The second perception can be that, Poo ko kisne mudke nahi dekha wala. And as we have given up the description, she definitely is not someone who would be Poo ko kisne mudke dekha. And she was definitely not someone who jo sabke help karte would walk around and just put out a random joke about love. Because I personally believe the people who believes in faith, emotions and God so much, they'll definitely not joke around love itself. So for readers, like obviously for Carter, it was like ठीक है randomly कुछ भी बोल दिया, who cares, as if I'm gonna meet you after this, whatever. And for readers, it was like that. But why? Like why this statement? This statement meant something, and readers is revolving around that statement throughout the journey. Like don't fall in love with me, don't fall in love with me, don't fall in love with me. What?
Yeah. So that happens. Then he picks her up at the dance and Herbert gives him this father-daughter talk. So he's grilling him. He's like, what? Tell me something about yourself. So when I read that sentence, मैं सच में वो MBA interviews जो होते हैं ना, tell me something about yourself, मेरे दिमाग में वो घूम रहा था कि जब तुम्हें पूछता है, like interview देने आया है क्या? But he did ask him, and he was pretty direct, and he was like grilling him about his true intentions, and like Landon was still, he was handling it. Then Jamie comes and she just tells her father that don't give him a hard time, and they leave to the dance. And throughout the car journey, he's like thinking about how much Akbar doesn't really like him. So he's thinking about that, And okay, another thing according to like another thing according to Jamie is always कि कुछ भी होता है life में that's Lord's plan. Okay, it's like कुछ भी अच्छा हो बुरा हो, it's Lord's plan. There has to be a reason. That's Jamie's only reason. That is Lord's plan. So he does mention it to her that, I don't think your father likes me. And she's like, yeah, my father thinks you're irresponsible. He doesn't like your family and everything. And he's like, what about you? She's like, I think you're good. उसके लिए वो एक थोड़ा saving grace
There's a good inside everyone. Yeah, there's a good inside everyone. It's always a question of a perception. And वही चीज आ जाती है that until unless someone has done a bad to you, they probably might not be a bad to you. Like if they have not hurted your emotions or something like that. But I feel that the definition of good and bad go beyond this as well. That no matter someone is causing harm to me or not causing harm to me, a person always have these two sides within themselves, and they have to just make a decision each and every step of their lives. And in some decisions they will be good, in some decisions they will be bad, but a decision can never define as a whole who the human being is. I mean, agar वही चीज, yeah.
True. So that happens. Then they reach the dance, and so dance पे पहुंच के realizes कि date तो लाना important था ही नहीं, क्योंकि उन्होंने last minute पे rules change कर दिए थे. So now he was even less inclined to spend time with Jamie. So the first hour he was sulking. He was like, नहीं यार मुझे नहीं जाना. But अगर मैं इसको अभी जल्दी घर पे छोड़ दिया तो उसके पापा को पता चल जाएगा that this was my true intention. I couldn't find another date. So he was stuck with her. He was feeling he was stuck with her. But then he was like, Jamie is such a person that कोई भी उसके आजू बाजू cheerful हो जाएगा. She's very infectious. She has this infectious energy. So after a while he started enjoying. Till so his ex was also there, Angela, and Angela had dumped him with this guy called Liu, who was like not in school and he was 20 and he was like a mechanic somewhere, too cool for you kind of a guy. So he was like just looking at Angela or something, and Angela ने थोड़ा drama create कर दिया वहाँ पे. She came with Liu, and like Landon was like वो मुझे मारने पे था. He's like तू मेरी लड़की को क्यों देख रहा है, this and that. But and Landon's like, I am not this physical guy यार, मतलब क्या कर रहे हो तुम लोग मेरे साथ? I can't throw punches. But then this unexpected thing happens where Jamie goes like, oh, are you Liu? I've seen you somewhere. And so now Landon is like, so this infectious energy, this enthusiasm now, people who know her know that, okay, this is normal. But now she's doing it to Liu. And Liu did not know that this is the normal thing. So he was stunned and he was like, ye kyun mujhse baat kar rahi hai? Do I know her? Have I ever spoken to her? And Jamie talks as if she's known you all her life, and you are in doubt कि तुमने कभी इससे बात की है या नहीं. So she diffuses the situation basically, and then when he thanks her later, she goes like, "What for?" So she diffused the situation without even knowing that what the whole situation was about. Eventually, she goes to the washroom. They're having a good time, and वहाँ पे they see that Angela is like, so ये लोग ने ड्रिंक स्पाइक की हुई थी एंड 1958 में बहुत बड़ी चीज होती है कि ड्रिंक स्पाइक करना. So you could be looking at like expulsion or either suspension, whatever it is. And Angela was like puking there and everything. So ताकि लोगों को पता नहीं अच्छा लगे. So Jamie called Carter. They cleaned all of that and they took her home. And so हाँ वो लोग ने एंजेला को घर ड्रॉप किया एंड फिर लैंडन ने जेमी को घर ड्रॉप किया. And he was just surprised, like he was like, if there was any other girl, she wouldn't have done all these things. Matlab, they were on their knees cleaning that puke and everything. She was smelling like that. And last me, she even still says that, thank you for inviting me to this house. And he was like, yaar, itna sab ho gaya. And she's still thanking me for inviting me. She will find a reason to thank you and be grateful about, even smallest of things. And somewhere he didn't feel right to kiss her goodnight. So he just left that thing. And that happened. Then eventually he went about his life, she went about her life and everything. Then one fine day, Jamie calls him. So at first he thinks that it's Angela, but he realizes, oh, it's Jamie. and she's like, I want to talk to you about something. Could you come by my house today? So he's like, I'm busy. Can we talk, in school on Monday? And she's like, okay, but I'll see you Monday ko ye time. So he's like, okay, he's not letting me go. So he was doing pros and cons. Now the thing is, initially, Landon was very shallow about his relationship with whatever his friendship with Jamie. So he didn't want his friends to
To
see
know
him with
about.
her
And plus, they were
and know
also
that.
used to be like, bully bolo ya bolo that, yeah, sort of a
Huh,
bully Jamie as well. The whole
huh,
gang, the whole friends used to be like, oh, kitni simple hai, वही like मिस्टर की बेटी है, just wears this simple sweater and all. So yeah, so they just pull her
hmm,
like a bit here and there.
yes. So he didn't want that. So he was analyzing pros and cons. He was like, स्कूल में मिलूंगा तो सबको पता चल जाएगा. उसके
Yeah.
घर जाके मिलूंगा तो सिर्फ हमारे बीच में बात रहेगी. So he was like, okay, I'll come by your house at 5 o'clock. So he goes and she asks him to perform the lead character in the play, the man who just lost his wife and everything. So he asks him to perform that. And she explains how this play is very important to her father of this year from all years and everything. And the other guy who will be playing, he won't be able to do justice to this part. And she really wants that, this is one of the best plays that, best acting that ever comes up. I would be doing the right thing, and she was very insistent. And Landon was just like, "Yeah, कोई ऐसे पूछेगा तो ना कैसे बोलूँगा." So despite whatever, he was not very keen, but he agreed to it. And yes, that's how it started. Next day, she told their drama teacher that Landon will be playing the main part, and they were rehearsing. So Landon was not really into it. मतलब उसको घंटा फर्क पड़ रहा था. उसने एक हफ्ता rehearsal किया and he did not do any justice. And he used to crack jokes and everything, and he was like सब हंस रहे हैं, लेकिन Jamie और उसकी teacher वो हंसते नहीं थे and everything. Then one fine day, he's just chilling with his friends at some grill or some eating place, and Jamie goes there, and Eric, like his best friend, he's teasing Landon. Oh, your girlfriend's on. Like, she's not my girlfriend. Like, oh, your fiance's on.
Yeah.
So he's just teasing Landon. And Jamie comes, and he's like, he expects her to be angry because he's not been doing justice to the play and everything. But she just offers that, thank you so much for doing this. And if you need any help, we can read these things together. And she's walking in this bar wala place for 5 minutes. And now Eric is drinking beer. So Eric जैसा बंदा who's like very assholeish, वो भी अपना beer छुपा देता है ताकि वो नहीं देखे. So that is the kind of
क्या पता वो exorcist करना शुरू कर दे. The name of the Lord, I want you to drop the demon out. क्या पता.
So that's how Landon describes that she has the power to even make Eric be about something. So that's what happens. And ये चीज होता है, and तभी Eric being it goes that Landon was just suggesting that that you volunteer doing or practice if he reads his lines there and you guys go there and practice. It's like, oh, it was Landon's idea. And वो जैसे होता है ना तुम्हारा दोस्त की, अरे पता नहीं क्या बोल रहा था, ये ऐसे बोल रहा था, तुम उसको फंसा देते हो. That's exactly what Eric did. And Landon in his head had already killed Eric 3 times. And in first he was like, fine, I'll do it. So the next day, he spends 14 hours memorizing all the lines, and they run it by the drama teacher who agrees, and every line with the drama teacher is like, marvelous, marvelous, this is supremely nice, this is super amazing, this is that. Then they spend more time together, Landon and Jamie. Then before they're going to the orphanage head to talk to him, they drop by at Landon's place. So Jamie even tells his mother that he came up with this idea that we can go to the orphanage, and सबकी माँ को तो पता ही होता है कि हमारा बच्चा कैसा है. So she's like, oh, is it? Did he really? And then they reach the orphanage, but they were refused to perform this since it'll be Christmas time and it's an orphanage and it's a play about a man who has a daughter. So it's just too sad for these people and too close to home. And Jamie was still like, oh, मैंने तो सोचा ही नहीं, and she was really sad because she really wanted to do something for these people, and yeah, so that happened. And she was like, she wanted to make this particular Christmas really special for them. Also in the car, like when they were on the way to their orphanage, Landon, so they talk about future and stuff like that. So she just asked Landon that, do you think about future? And he's like, yeah, I'll go to this college, I'll go to that and everything. And then he asked her that, what do you want like in your future? So she goes like, I want to get married and I want my father walking me down the aisle in a church full of people. And अब और कोई होता तो would be like, हाँ ये तो होना ही है.
Yeah. Hello, 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 hello.
You know the way she's talking. Hello, this is better. The way she's talking, he knows she doesn't want to talk more about it, so he doesn't say anything. And then while coming back home, they're just talking to him like, do you visit the graveyard at night? He's like, yes, I do. We're like, what do you do there? Like, nothing. I just eat peanuts and I don't
The chill
crash
place.
down the places.
The chill place of Carter being cemetery, like one of the weirdest chill place, but then that's what makes you bad boy. So that just makes you bad boy.
So, like, we just joke around and talk around. We just there late at night. Like, don't you get scared? So it's like, no, I haven't thought about being scared in a cemetery and everything. Then, also the second week, and Jamie asked Landon to walk her home, and they keep having these conversations of sorts. So first it's like super chill, second day it's super chill, third day is nice. They talk about all sorts of things. Then fourth day they meet Eric and Margaret, and they are like making fun of Jamie, but Jamie doesn't realize कि वो उसका मजाक उड़ा रहे. She just responds very normally and everything. And Landon is like, यार ये लोग कल मुझे मार, मतलब ये लोग मेरी कल ले लेंगे पूरी ये वो. They didn't know that he would walk with her and everything, so he was worried about that. Then one fine day, he was like super pissed off. उसका दिन अच्छा नहीं जा रहा था. उसने plays में एक भी line ढंग से नहीं बोली और next day play था. So and then he refuses to walk her home as well because he's like, it's out of my way and everything. But then the drama teacher tells Landon, no, you have to walk her home. So she just asked him that, oh, are you not having a good day? And he lashes at her. He's like, एक तो मैं तेरे पापा के लिए कर रहा हूँ जो मुझे लाइक भी नहीं करती, ऊपर से मैं एक घंटा जो आउट ऑफ द वे जाके मैं तुझे घर छोड़ रहा हूँ, तुझे कुछ उसकी पड़ी नहीं है. This and that. I don't want to be a part of the play. I don't even know why am I doing it. I'm spending so much time here. It's been 3 weeks. I have not gotten free time for my own self. My friends make fun of me, this and that, blah blah blah. वो पूरा lash out हो जाता है. And Jamie doesn't really say anything. Like she just walks and like he drops her home, and even he's like थोड़ा embarrassed after a point of time that उसने ये सारी चीजें बोल दी. And when they reach her house, she turns to him and she's like, thank you for dropping me home. And he's like, oh, it's even more angering that ये बंदी क्या है, सेंट है क्या है, मतलब गुस्सा क्यों नहीं होती. So that happens.
This happens when you have So this happens when you have reached that certainty of your life where you are self-focused and individual enough that the things around you do not matter, and there can be XYZ reasons to achieve that space. Basically, a person like so far the image, I'll not give any spoilers. So far the image that we have received from her is that the reason why she have attained this certainty in her life is because of being so close to the God, the Bible, and doing good wills to everybody. So that probably might be the reason कि जिसकी वजह से वो एकदम saint जैसी बनी हुई है. So this was the impression that you will get once you read the book throughout, that whatever she does not have that emotion of anger. She can surpass that emotion of anger very easily just because she knows that demons and angels inside everyone, and if everyone was seeing a demon inside him but she was still seeing an angel inside him, so she would know that this was a mood swing and it's all right, like treating every other person the same way.
So that happens. Then it's the night of the plane, and he sees her, and he's like embarrassed, but he catches hold of her and he tells her that he'll make it up for whatever it happened and everything. And she smiles, like she's very happy about it. And then she goes on to change, and he also goes to change and everything. And there's this one particular scene. So she is this angel, and there's this one particular scene. So one line hai us play ka that you're so beautiful, but she hasn't been able to quite nail it in the play. And then there comes this moment of truth when he's on the stage and he sees Jamie with that angelic look and this halo around her, and she has makeup on her face and everything. And that is the first time this line came out really well. And like he could mentally hear Miss Garber, who is their drama teacher. Miss Garber's marvelous on this particular line when he said it, and he realized that he meant this line. So the play was a smashing success. Everyone was congratulating everyone, this and that. And yeah, it was like everyone was very euphoric, bahut acha tha. And that night he also realized that Jamie would be going home with her father, and he wouldn't like drop her home. So that happened. Then Monday it was back to normal. She was again in her sweater and everything. And now he was like, कि, यार ये इसमें potential है, लेकिन ये अभी भी she's like back to her old self. Like she's just being normal all over again. Like, she realizes that she could be special, but she's choosing to be normal. And then that day, Jamie catches hold of him and she tells him that, oh, you told me you'll make it up to me. And he was like, I thought I did. मैंने play पे इतने अच्छे acting की. But no, she was having none of it. So basically, because she wanted to do something special for the orphanage kids at Christmas, उसने 60 shops में jars डाले थे where people can put in money and donate. And this time, because she wanted the Christmas to be more special, उसने थोड़े जल्दी डाले थे, but now it was time to go and collect it, and she did not have the time to actually go and collect those 60 jars. And उसको डालने में भी बहुत टाइम लगा था, because she does not own a car, so वो एक दिन में से दो तीन places पे ही डालती थी. So now Landon had a flashback. So जब ये जो jars होते हैं उसमें ये वो होता है, so they are not transparent. So he and his friends would put like paper clips and some notes and everything. So उनमें से कोई था तो उसको लगेगा कि अरे बहुत सारा है, but then you open it all trash. So he was like feeling guilty about something like that, but he agreed. And he was like कि हाँ 60 है तो मैं एक दिन लगेगा and I'll probably do it. So then when he started around picking up everything, he goes like कि I forgot that I stay in a small town. You can't just like go in and go out. You have to make small talk, small conversation with everyone around. So on the first day, he could barely manage to go and visit 20 shops the whole day.
That's the thing.
And
small town में जाके expect नहीं करते मैं पेन लेने जा रहा हूँ. आप expect करते आधा घंटा लगने वाला है. So basically what I used to get very irritated जब मुझे कहते थे कि अरे जा एक चीज ले आ. I used to be say like कि जब 15 चीज हो जाए तब बताओ. At least make my go worth it. क्योंकि मुझे पता है not be able. और सबसे बड़ी प्रॉब्लम पता है क्या होती है? So like there will not be like 10 shops for the same thing. There will be one shop for one thing. So जब वहां पे गए हुए हो, the shopkeeper is talking. अभी आप अकेले नहीं हो वहां पे जिसको पेन चाहिए, ठीक है? Assumingly वहां 5 लोग हैं जिनको पेन चाहिए, and because it's a small town, उन 5 लोगों को small talks करनी है. And I'm standing over there, and others are having this conversation. A few of them do not know what small talks mean. Few of them for just a pen would talk for half an hour, and I'm just standing there and coming back. They're like, "तेरे pen लाने में इतना time लगा?" It's not my fault. That's not my fault. And the shopkeeper have no interest, have no fear कि कहाँ जाओगे, यही से तो लेना है. He's chilling in his own sense. He's like, हाँ आप बताओ पहले आपको निपटा लेते हैं. And then giving one pen, talking for 1 hour, and then अच्छा तुम्हें भी कुछ लेना है, हाँ बताओ ना, घर पे कैसे है, क्या चल रहा है? I mean, क्या for that I'm standing here since 1 hour ना.
This happened. So I was in Indore and एक शादी अटेंड करने आई थी मैं वहाँ पे when I was 14, ठीक है. और मैं और मेरी बुआ, so my बुआ stays in Dubai, not even Mumbai for her, she stays वहाँ पे मुंबई और दुबई की लाइफ बहुत फास्ट पेस्ड है, ठीक है, मतलब तुम्हें एक सेकंड में वो चीज मिले और तुम निकलो वहाँ से।
Yeah.
So we went early morning, like 10:30ish, to buy कुछ wedding का सामान, and this shopkeeper just opened up, तो वो पूजा कर रहे थे, तो हम रुके थे कि हाँ पूजा खत्म हो जाए, फिर हम खत्म ही नहीं हो रही थी, पूजा खत्म नहीं हो रही थी, पूजा करने के बाद आराम से he's doing this, मैं बुआ lost her patience, like थोड़ा जल्दी करो प्लीज, मुहूर्त अटका हुआ है वहाँ पे and still he was like आराम से अपने पेस में कर रहे,
अपना काम वही. And the another thing is about okay, I was about to say something really good and I forgot. Wow.
small town.
Yeah, there was a very interesting fact about to say, which
Small
I
talk.
technically forgot. So the another weird fact about small town is that the more you know the shopkeeper, the later you will get the stuff. That's how it works. So more you are unknown to him, the more early you will get this stuff. क्योंकि उसे उससे भी दोस्ती बनानी है जो unknown लोग हैं, जो नए नए लोग हैं. So चाहे see even like मैं बहुत simple example देता हूँ. Even if you are at a गोलगप्पा के stall पे, यार आप जो हो नंबर 2 पे आए हो, नंबर 1 is eating, you are at number 2, और नंबर 3 4 5 are the new people. He'll serve number 3 4 5 first and then say भैया आप 2 मिनट रुक जाओ. Your chance will come sixth automatically, no matter you come second, just because you know the shopkeeper well more than them. So that's how it works. That's the whole concept of small towns. So जहाँ कहते हैं ना जान पहचान बहुत अच्छी होती है, बना के रखनी चाहिए, वही यहाँ नुकसानदायक भी हो जाती है. That the more you know the shopkeeper, the later you will get your stuff. That's how it works.
Oh God, मुझे तो सुन के गुस्सा आ रहा है यार, जल्दी करो यार, मतलब टाइम नहीं है.
And it's legit for every shop, every freaking shop, for everything. It's legit like that. It's legit like that.
ठीक है. Okay, so he agrees to do it, and he finally goes around to 20 shops the first day. And when he counts and everything, first day का income donations आए हैं, he realizes there were hardly some $20 उसमें. So he's like थोड़ा surprised, but he knows कि और दो चीजें हैं ये तो. नेक्स्ट डे उसने काउंट किया तो उसमें भी कुछ $23 समथिंग आता है. उसके अगले दिन वो गया तो उसमें से तो और कम $11 समथिंग आया. And the total collection of these 360 boxes was some $55.73, and he was feeling really bad. He was like, there are 30 orphanage kids. उनमें मतलब $2 per person भी नहीं जा रहा है and everything. So he was like feeling really bad about something like that. And then Jamie calls him to ask कितना collection हुआ, and he's like, it's your thing, so we'll calculate it together. मैंने अब तक कुछ खोला नहीं है. We'll just do it together. So he takes all the collection boxes to her house the next day, and when Jamie counts, there were $247, and she was so happy. She was like out of this world. She's like, finally, I can get them to have this amazing Christmas, and just extremely happy. And like Landon was happy that he could do that for her. So that happened, and then they went to she went to buy all these gifts and everything, and also she invited him to come to the orphanage to hand it over. So he was really happy. He did accompany her to the orphanage. So he reached a bit late, and by started reading and everything, and he realized this one thing, that when she was in the orphanage also she dressed differently. So school में ही वो ऐसा bun डाल के आती थी, but in the orphanage she was more free, more open as to who she was. And yes, he like handed all these gifts with her to all the kids and everything. And then they also exchanged presents. So he had got her a sweater. So she would always wear this brown sweater. So he knew कि वो use तो करेगी because वो हमेशा डालती है, and she could use a new one. They got her that. And Jamie, so Jamie, जैसे हमने बोला कि हमेशा एक बाइबल लेके चलती थी अपने साथ. तो उसने एक बार पूछा था कि ये बाइबल हमेशा. So like my mother would read it all the time before I was born, when I was when she was pregnant with me. And when my mother died, so my father carried me and this Bible as the only two things out of that hospital. And ever since, this Bible has stayed with me. I read it time and again and everything. So Jamie had given this Bible as a present to Landon that night. And he was emotional. He's like, I really didn't know what I did to deserve this. And you really shouldn't. And she was like, I want you. So that's what she did. And then he drops her home and everything. And that one night, he asks her to accompany him for Christmas dinner to his with his family, and she agreed. So then they say their goodbyes, and she even visits his family. The pretty chill people. They go for a walk. So उनके conversations constantly होते रहते हैं. But that particular night, he realized that he is in love with Jamie Sullivan, something that she didn't want to happen. So that happened. And he was like, the thing about this love is it was very different. It was like he didn't know firstly that she felt the same way. And he was like, it didn't feel right to kiss her, like it just felt wrong on so many levels because she was not that person. So that happened. Then Christmas ke baad there was New Year's and everything. So New Year's Day, he asked her on a date, but he wanted to do this correctly.
Correctly. So he asked his father.
So he asked her father. And the father was like, okay, are your parents with you? Like, no. He's like, no, then not allowed.
Yeah.
So he's like, I really love Jamie Sullivan and I want to really do it. And so his father says, okay, gets convinced. And he's like, when Lannon leaves his office, he sees that the father is crying a bit. So then he's confused. He was like, why is he crying? But he calls Jamie, he asks her out, and she's like, I don't really know. He's like, I've spoken to your father, and he said yes. And she was like, oh, okay. She was surprised, but she was really, she liked the thought that he went to her father first. And he didn't tell her that he saw her father crying, but he shared this with his mom. So his mom just said that probably her father just realized that she's growing up and might be losing her. And he found that a valid explanation. So they have their date, and that was the first time that he kissed actually. And then he asked her father for it.
A fancy nice restaurant date.
Yes. And then just around 10th January, 10 days after their first date, walking around, and he told her that he loves her, and she was like, no, this can't be happening.
She reminds him that that's the only rule that we had, that he'll not fall in love with me.
Yes, and that day is the day when she told him that she's dying and she has leukemia. And he was shattered. He didn't know what to do with that kind of information. She had known since 7 months, but it was only now that it was getting worse. And he was like, what if you were not a part of the school play? What if all that was very stressful? And she's like, actually, that kept me healthy, to be very honest. And all this happened, and she was pretty chill about it. She was trying to be like, put up a brave front. And he was just, he was every day, he was praying for a miracle. He was like, होता ना कि अरे ये भी हुआ था उसके साथ ऐसा हुआ था फिर उसके साथ सब ठीक हो गया. So every day he would pray for that.
And more or less the thing is that कि like कार्टन में ये चल रहा था that how can someone be dying and yet be living the life and not saying anything or not trying anything and just so this is also some happens that when you know your fate, when you know the date, so you just try to be a giver probably. And सब ऐसे नहीं हो सकते, but जेमी ने शायद वही सीखा था. And the compassion that she had within her, so probably that was all because she knew that this is the only limited time she have, and it's that decision that she has to make, that how she want to live. Or this is a very beautiful saying that goes around that without suffering there is compassion is not possible without suffering. And but so there are two phrases basically. The first one is like that, without suffering there is no compassion, but can you tell that to the one who are suffering? Can you make them understand this? And Jamie is a big example of that, that even though she was suffering, she knew what the compassion was. And with that, I recall this very cute another phrase as well. That is like the war is over, but only the dead know of it. So
Exactly,
it's
exactly.
almost a similar way that yes, you need to get that knockout punch to know what success really means. But once you get the knockout punch, the journey from that knockout to the success is not that easy. it's आप जिसने नॉकआउट पंच खाया उसको ये चीज बताओ कि अरे जब तू सक्सेसफुल होएगा ना बहुत स्वीट होएगा, वो खींच के मारेगा एक. So that's the same thing, that if you tell a person who is suffering that only this is happening so that you can learn compassion, it'll no make no sense to the person until unless they have learned the compassion, which is a very
Exactly.
big journey to go through.
Exactly. So that happened. Even so, and it started making sense to Landon. The play. Why was it so important? Why was this Christmas so special? Why did she give away her Bible to him and everything? So it all started making sense. And he's like, why? He was hurt. So all those emotions, starting me, you are hurt, you are anger, you are in denial, then you accept it, and then you just have this thing. Okay, slight ray of hope कि कुछ हो जाए, कुछ तो अच्छा हो. And then वो eventually it all boiled down to that there is something that he really wants to do, something to her, something to show her, and he was just feeling so helpless all this time. So he even the conversations didn't stop, but then one fine day she stopped coming to school, so he went to see her, and so तब तक चीजें थोड़ी chill हो गई थी, तो he would go inside to meet her, and also because her father knew कि it's chilly out, so it's not good for Jamie's health anyway कि वो बाहर बैठे, so he allowed Landon to come in the living room and sit with her. And he was just like, "Are you going to come back?" And she's like, "No, I don't think, because I want to spend more time with my father, like when he leaves in the morning and everything." And then, so first day he was like just sad and he didn't know what to do the first time they talked. Then next day he decided that he'll at least pretend to be normal because that's what she was doing. So he pretended to be normal, but he was like he doesn't ever want to do that again because it's just killing both of them. And he goes home, he asks his mother. His mother's like, "Oh, he cannot do anything." Then he asks, then he turns to Bible. He reads whatever she had given him, and he reads these underlined quotes that she had, and somehow he knew that she'd underlined it for him. So then next day their conversations were like, you knew I would do the play, and she's like, yes. Like you knew I would fall in love with you, and she's like, yes, I did know that you would fall in love with me. Then one fine day she got super sick, and then the doctors gave up. But she was insistent that if she is dying, she would rather die at home. So they sent her home, and that was the day Landon's mother actually took a stand with Landon's father and told him that you have money, you're doing everything to get that girl any equipment that she needs. I don't care about your fights with this, and if you don't, then don't even bother coming home. So she does that. His father rushes home. He gets her the world class equipment, like all the gets like two nurses to take care of her and everything. And Landon is just still trying to figure out that there is still something more that he can do. They start reading Bible together, but he's still at a loss. He does it, and he's like, "Kuch to hai, something is missing." He talks about his purpose in life with his mother, and his mother keeps telling him that you've done everything you have. There's nothing left. Then one fine day, Eric and Margaret visit Jamie and Landon. They're still sitting inside. And Eric just apologizes to her because of the way he's acted. And that day, Landon learns about forgiveness from Jamie because she has no grudges. She just, accepts Landon's apology and hugs him and, like, to let him know that she has forgiven him. And she does the same with Margaret, and they're crying tears and everything. That happened. And Landon is still, he's like, kuch to hai life mein, kuch to karna hai. Like, and he and his father also started getting along really well. Like, he quit crying on his father's shoulder, and his estranged father was no more. And it was not out of pity, it was not because she was dying, it was not, something. Okay, I'm stuck. Hello.
Yeah. You're audible.
Okay. Uh,
You're audible. Your video is stuck, so you can say. Okay. Now your audio is also gone. All right. We'll wait. We'll wait for Divya to join back in. We are a good audience. Until then, audience, if you have not liked the stream, please like the stream so that it reaches out to the more people. It helps us a lot, obviously. And do drop a subscribe if you have not subscribed to the channel yet. And due to some technical reasons, I guess Divya has left. She will join back the meeting for sure. थोड़ा internet issues हो गया होगा. So yeah. So if you have not liked the stream, like the stream. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe to the channel and go to the description. And all right, I'll just check it out with Divya. And yep, go to the description, buy our latest book, which is, by the way, I want my cat back, and I'm definitely sure you'll enjoy it. Let's try to get back Divya. तब तक आप मेरा ये दो, ये आधा मैं इधर हूँ, आधा मैं इधर हूँ, आज मैं इधर, आज मैं इधर. और I'll be like this, ताकि आपको पता चले. और else I'll be आधा आधा. Okay. We are trying to get them back. Somehow it disconnected. It's not internet issues from my end, at least it's not an internet issue from her end as well. But somehow this got disconnected. So let's try to figure it out. That why did this got disconnected like this? Yep. क्या हो गया? क्या हुआ? तब तक आप जरा इसे देखो. This is our latest release. By the way, I want my cat back. Yeah. So guys, go on Amazon, grab it as soon as possible, and drop down your beautiful reviews around it. It's a very sweet, and cute short story. Like how many stories have you read where the characters fall in love and then break up? But have you ever read a story where it begins with a breakup? So that's what a little difference in this story is about. और मैं लोगों को हमारे के बारे में बता रहा था. Until then, Divya is back. So we'll get back Divya.
यार इतने important चीज के टाइम में internet.
Yeah. Go ahead. कोई बात नहीं.
So that day he realizes that he wants to do something, and it suddenly hits him that this was his answer all along. And he goes up and he tells that he wants to marry her. So he says this to her father, he says this to her, and when she agrees, all of them, like his father, his mother, and her father, they all try to talk him out of it because they think it's very impulsive, but it's something that he's wanted to do all along, and they somehow convince him. And so yes, it's 12th March 1959, and Jamie is like, uska condition has worsened, but she wears the same angel wala dress that she worn for the play, and she wants to walk down the aisle, so she refuses the wheelchair. Her father is walking her down the aisle, and Landon is on the other end waiting. And then the nurse rolls the wheelchair out front, and Jamie sits wahan pe. Landon kneels because to get to her height. Then even Landon's father becomes the best man, and even he kneels. And then Jamie's father is like, standing there, and there's a point in his head when he comes out of being Jamie's father and becomes the minister to marry both them. And he's giving them a confused look, और वो भी kneel कर देते हैं नीचे. And they say their vows, and that night he marries her. And sometime later, she takes her last breath. And then it's again back to current present, where he is 53 years old. He's not married since, and he still wears the ring that they'd exchanged, like abhi tak bhi. And yes, so he's like, there are things that I don't remember, but this one year is something which every detail is etched into the last core of my memory. And that's where the book ends.
Sweet. That's very
Yeah.
sweet. And a conclusion of a love tale. So, yeah. So, going ahead. Yeah. So, what you liked in the book and why would you let the readers to read this book?
Okay, so before I say what I liked in the book, and I think I've said this the previous time, but this is a book. So मेरा English के internals थे. I was like 17, and ना हमारी टीचर ने हमें से बोला था कि जो बुक भूल गया हो ना, they can tell me, like जो reading के लिए book होती है, text book हो कोई भूल गया हो घर पे, so they can tell me about this last story last novel that they've read and give it a summary on it. Yeah. तो मैंने मेरी बुक किसी बंदे को दी हुई थी, तो उसको मैंने पूछा कोई पढ़ी है किताब, बोलता है नहीं, मतलब ठीक है रख ले मेरी किताब, लाइक मेरी टेक्स्ट बुक मैंने पढ़ी हुई है, आई कैन से समथिंग. मैं बुक्स पढ़ती थी, तो पहले मैंने हैरी पॉटर पे लिखना चालू किया, बट आज लगा यार बहुत एक्सटेंसिव है, 5 मिनट में कैसे मैं हैरी पॉटर का कोई भी डिस्क्रिप्शन दे दूँ. तो फिर मैंने लिखा वॉक टू रिमेम्बर. 5 मिनट जितना वो स्पीच लिखा, ट्रस्ट मी वो टीचर इतनी खुश हो गई, मैं लास्ट में तो इतनी एक्साइट हो गई, एंड ही डज नॉट इवन रिमूव द रिंग एंड स्टिल हैज द कंटेंट. सो आई वॉक टू रिमेम्बर इज द बुक
That you will remember.
जिसमें मुझे इंग्लिश
Walk to Remember is a book that you will remember.
yes definitely.
Yeah.
So that happened. Why I would recommend this book is, like, if you're a writer especially, then the character descriptions and places descriptions is something that has been really nicely done in this book, I think. मतलब मेरे हिसाब से तो I would pick it up, just like apart from the story and everything, I would pick it up for that. If I really want to learn how to describe a place and a character. And तुम्हें क्या तुम्हारा क्या
I felt this the
मैं
story.
सोचती हूँ कि what
Yeah. So I just felt that the story was very smooth. There was no point where the story was over explained. No, like there's no extra subplots included in the stories. There's nothing. So it's one of those books that revolves around the characters. Means revolves around the characters. That's it. They don't care what's around and what's not around. So that's what I felt, that if you love to fall in love with the character and wants to have a journey with the character without even caring about what subplots and the around it those things are, then yeah, this is the book for you.
So, what would I like to change in this book? So, okay, I know all these core book readers are going to kill me for saying this, but किसी ने अगर ये मूवी देखी है तो उस मूवी का एक पर्टिकुलर सीन है जो मेरा पर्सनल फेवरेट मूवी सीन है एवर इन माय लाइफ. is like, so movie में story थोड़ी अलग है. मूवी में ऐसे बताया she has a bucket list and then Lion is trying to figure out what he wants to do for her. He tries to tick off all the items from her bucket list. So one of the items on that bucket list is impossible according to a lot of people. So she wanted to be in 2 places at once. Okay. So she wanted that, and Landon was like कि ये कैसे करूँगा? Okay. And he takes her like for a drive, takes her to this place, and he makes like her stand between, like there's a line
State
और
border.
चीजों के बीच में वो ये करता है. That is the state border.
State border.
So she was in 2 places at once. And it's one of the most, I don't know, very heartwarming scenes. Even as a 17-year-old me, even as a 25-year-old me, it's one of the most heartwarming scenes. So I think अगर ये book में होता तो मुझे कुछ ज़्यादा पसंद आती.
The only thing that I'll change if I was it was that I would have made it a little more mature. That's my say. I still felt that the book was more of a high school drama somewhere, and I would have made it a little more mature. There were so many places where they could have inserted such a beautiful quote somewhere, like life messages, you can say. So probably that's just my take on that. Just probably I would have added some more mature parts, like the transformation of Carter turning from a high school guy into a matured guy who would understand the meaning of life and death and would propose her as a one last wish and would never quit believing in their love even when she died. So what transformation I felt was completely missing. Like that was completely missing because the narrative was in his voice, करेक्टर कार्टर के उस पे ही narrative था, so he could have told कि इस moment पे मेरा ये moment break down हुआ, इस moment पे मेरा ये वाला ego break down हुआ, which I felt was just didn't exist. And there was also sweet कि वो readers पे छोड़ दिया था that they can figure it out कि पैसे वाले के टाइम पे क्या हुआ, orphanage के टाइम पे क्या हुआ, play के टाइम पे क्या हुआ. But probably जब narrative add होता है, then I could have loved अगर वो narrative में भी होता तो, you know, a dramatic narrative we could have said that just before saying that you are beautiful, I might be a person who never understood what a beauty means, but now I do. So उस type के quotes जैसे आते हैं ना in a narration, that because it's a 43-year-old who's narrating it out, and now he would have thought of the story 1,000 times, and now he understand कि हर एक aspect का important है, हर एक moment का important aspect क्या है. So it's probably like that. Yeah.
So yes, with that we conclude our discussion of A Walk to Remember and our season finale of Two Bookdragons.
Season 1. Just season finale of season 1. Yeah.
Yes. So yes, let us know what did you like, how did you like. Let us know your suggestions if you want anything to be different for the next season. Let us know your suggestions for any books that you want us to discuss, any good book that you've read, anything that we are lacking, anything you want to know more. Kuch bhi, drop in your suggestions. You can personally reach out to Saurabh and I on our various Instagram handles. Support us by purchasing our books. हमारी बहुत सारी बुक्स, सौरभ की बहुत सारी बुक्स आ गई है, मेरी इकलौती बुक आ गई है. And yes, send good wishes to Saurabh because he's going on a leave, but he's going to come back. So the more wishes you send, the sooner he'll be back.
So just before we conclude today's show, so how was your experience of these 7 episodes of Two Bookdragons? Let's just have that.
Okay. अब तक तो it was like कि हम readers के लिए कर रहे हैं, हम viewers के लिए कर रहे हैं, and it's just too basic. What do you say? Expand on the reading culture that India more has been missing since quite some time. मैं बचपन से किताब पढ़ती थी, right? It has always come very naturally to me. I love books, and I personally would love to do anything around books. So when Saurabh approached me, मुझे 2 चीजें करनी थी, एक किताबों के आसपास कुछ करना था, दूसरा था मेरा कैमरा कॉन्शियसनेस काम करना था. ठीक है, I was already working on the camera consciousness thing. And Saurabh told me about books. I was like, yes, I really want to do it. And of course, starting में we didn't have a game plan for it. We didn't know what we want to achieve. Whether we want a dissection model, whether we want a review model. But review model में हम ही कुछ comfortable नहीं थे. Like we don't want to rate people. I mean, not that people who do are doing something wrong, but हम personally we don't want to rate any author or because it's our personal opinion. So I really don't think we could be able to subject our opinions. It was just art में तो हर किसी का कोई opinion हो सकता है. So we came up with a dissection model, something that we both were very happy about. And these 7 weeks have been super amazing because honestly speaking, मेरा reading से touch छूटते जा रहा था. Like since 2 years, I was struggling to at least read 20 books a year, which is not very difficult once upon a time. But because of all these extra things, it became very difficult. So when he told me, I'm like, हाँ यार इसी बहाने भले मैं reread कर रही हूँ, but मैं पढ़ूंगी, कुछ तो पढ़ूंगी मैं. So that happened. And yes. And he also, so Saurabh का एक चीज है, मेरे inhibitions बहुत fixed थे. मैं fiction ही पढ़ती थी, मैं non fiction में जाती ही नहीं थी. तो मैंने Paulo Coelho की books उठाई नहीं थी इसके पहले. But Saurabh was like सब करेंगे. I am like ठीक है कर लेंगे. So this Bookdragons opened me up to new genres. So somewhere I feel that I have become more tolerable when it comes to other genres apart from fiction. Of course, fiction will always have a special place in my heart. That is not going anywhere. But